ChatGPT, relate ACIM to the movie Flight. Flight through the lens of A Course in Miracles, ACIM. Flight is a powerful exploration of denial, addiction, guilt, self-deception, accountability, and ultimately the healing power of truth. Through the lens of A Course in Miracles, ACIM, it becomes a profound study of the ego's determination to protect its self-image and the liberation that occurs when truth is finally chosen over illusion. At its heart, the movie asks, what does it cost to maintain a false identity? This question lies at the center of the ego's thought system. The double-life whip, Whitaker appears highly competent on the surface. He is respected, skilled, admired, capable. Yet beneath the image lies addiction, fear, and profound inner conflict. This reflects the ego's structure. The ego is a self-concept, an image presented to the world. ACIM teaches that suffering arises when we attempt to defend an image rather than recognize the truth. The gap between appearance and reality creates enormous strain. Much of Whip's suffering comes from trying to protect a version of himself that no longer reflects what is actually occurring. Denial. The film is fundamentally about denial, not simply denial of addiction, denial of truth, denial of pain, denial of responsibility. The ego survives through denial. It says, it's not that bad. I can control it. Nobody knows. I can keep this hidden. ACIM teaches that what is hidden remains unhealed. The Holy Spirit does not condemn hidden thoughts. The Holy Spirit simply invites them into the light. The movie repeatedly demonstrates the exhausting effort required to maintain denial. The addiction symbol. While the film deals specifically with substance addiction, ACIM would view addiction more broadly. The ego is addicted to many things: control, specialness, approval, grievances, judgment, victimhood. The specific form varies. The underlying mechanism is the same. The mind seeks something outside itself to relieve an inner discomfort. The movie powerfully illustrates the futility of this strategy. Guilt. One of the deepest themes in the film is guilt. The ego attempts to avoid guilt through rationalization, excuses, blame, deflection, yet the guilt remains. ACIM teaches that guilt cannot be escaped through concealment. It can only be healed through truth. Whip's journey gradually brings him face to face with what he has spent years avoiding. The collapse of the self-concept. Throughout the story, Whip fights desperately to preserve his image. The ego believes that the collapse of its self-concept is death. ACIM teaches that the collapse of the false self is actually liberation. The image must crack before truth can emerge. The movie beautifully portrays this process. What initially appears catastrophic eventually becomes healing. The power of honesty. The turning point of the film occurs when Whip finally tells the truth, not because it benefits him, not because it protects him, but because he can no longer continue the deception. This moment is profoundly aligned with ACIM. Healing begins with honesty, not self-condemnation, not punishment. Honesty. The Holy Spirit cannot heal what the ego insists on hiding. The truth becomes the doorway to freedom. Prison and freedom. One of the film's greatest reversals is that Whip appears more free in prison than he was outside of it. Externally, he has lost everything, yet internally, something has changed. The burden of deception is gone. The endless defense is over. ACIM repeatedly teaches that freedom is a state of mind, not a condition of circumstance. The ego may appear successful while remaining imprisoned. The healed mind may appear restricted while experiencing peace. Forgiveness. The film is not ultimately about punishment. It is about forgiveness, self-forgiveness, truth, acceptance, the recognition that healing requires honesty rather than perfection. ACIM teaches that forgiveness releases the mind from guilt by revealing that error is not identity. Mistakes occurred, yet mistakes are not the truth of who we are. The movie points toward this distinction. The central reflection. The ego watches Flight and asks, how can I protect my image? The Holy Spirit watches Flight and asks, what truth am I finally willing to face? Viewed through ACIM, the movie becomes a powerful lesson in the collapse of self-deception and the healing power of honesty. Whip's journey is not really about addiction. It is about choosing truth over illusion. The deepest message may be, the ego believes freedom comes from protecting the image. The Holy Spirit teaches that freedom comes from releasing the image. What is hidden becomes a burden. What is brought into the light becomes available for healing. Truth may seem costly to the ego, but it is the doorway to peace. Go to mwge.org to find full movie and commentary by David Hoffmeister.